Hello, Level 4 Coaching Active Lifestyles. This screencast or Zoom recording is to just inform you about this week's outdoor activity. So you've got to plan and deliver a 45-minute outdoor activity for a chosen context. So that could be Key Stage 2 outdoor activity session. It could be an interactive health walk for adults, or it could be a session for overweight teenagers. So really start thinking about what you need to do in terms of the needs of the specific groups that we're talking about. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So you need to go to your Blackboard site to start off with. Okay, so I'm just going to open up Blackboard. Hopefully you can see this. So if you go on to, I'm going to log in. If you go onto our Blackboard site of Coaching Active Lifestyles, I'm just going to stop sharing to make sure that you can see it again. And go onto the Blackboard site, Coaching Active Lifestyles. And first of all, you need to go to Learning Materials. So I'll just open that one up again. So if I scroll down to Coaching Active Lifestyles, we go on to Learning Materials. Bear with me. So click on Learning Materials here. Then if you scroll all the way down, you'll be able to see things here that you can't actually see because it's hidden from you. But the one that you're looking for is the session plan template. So you can download that session plan template. Okay. I'm just going to stop the share so I can open it up with you again. So with that session plan template, what we want to do is plan a 45-minute activity. And as part of that 45-minute activity, you can have a warm-up and a cool down as well. You might have 2 or 3 different main activities, and you're going to deliver 10 minutes of that activity. Now, you need to make sure that you plan your activity, but also have a backup plan just in case the environment doesn't allow us to actually do that if it's too risky due to bad weather. So have a think of a backup activity that you could do, which we could still be in the outdoors, we can still learn for your specific cohort. So with your lesson plan, what you need to make sure that you've got on there is your aims of your activity, what you're trying to do, how you're going to measure that as well, how you're going to know you've achieved that. Also, in terms of the outcomes, so what are the key outcomes that your participants will gain as in taking part in this activity? The risk assessment, I'm going to come on to a bit more detail. You do need to make sure that you've looked through the risk assessment that is on the Blackboard site under module documents. Okay, so that's there to protect you as well as your participants. So please make sure you familiarize yourself with that risk assessment. And again, think about sort of like what you might need in terms of like first aid and things like that, which you would have to do. I will be bringing a first aid kit with me, just in case we do have any accidents. Within your risk assessment section here on your session plan template, that doesn't need to be as detailed because you will have the other one that is on Blackboard already. So you don't need to reinvent that. You just got to familiarize yourself with it and consider some of those as part of your session planning. Your risk assessment here, that might be more specific to your specific cohort. Okay, so what challenges might they have, or what things do we need to consider with regards to the people that you're working with? Then in the main bit here, what is your activity that you're doing? So what's your specific activity and what will the participants be doing? All right, so what's the key things that they'll be getting out of that session? And as I say, you can include a warm-up in there. Now, you can see we've got equipment here. If you can not use equipment, that's beneficial because try and do something with nothing. Try and be a bit more creative and innovative. Okay, so you can take a game or an activity that you've done before. How could you put your own spin on this? How can you make it more interesting and more relevant to today? So again, outline your activities here. With this as well, as you can see when I get to the bottom, okay, what questions will you use? How will you assess what they've learned? How will you find out if they've enjoyed it or got or reached the outcomes of which you were hoping to achieve? You can add in some supportive evidence here. Again, so if you're doing a specific activity, say, for example, with overweight teens, why are you doing that activity and how do you know it will be the best activity for that specific group? So have a bit of research to back up what you're talking about, or equally have some research about, you know, the needs or some of the challenges that your participants might have. So again, back that up with relevant literature. So I'm just going to go back out of here so I can share my screen again. Okay, this time I'm going back to the Blackboard site. So if you can see here on the Blackboard site, I'm going to go back up and I'm going to go onto module documents this time. So click on module documents, and down at the bottom of module documents, you should see risk assessment. Click on the link for the risk assessment. And again, let me just stop the share so I can reshare with you. Just going to go to the risk assessment, so you can download the risk assessment. Now, this is a more detailed risk assessment, which you'll see. So think about some of the changes or challenges that we might have when working with the outdoors. Things like slip hazards, the public, you've also got to consider the current restrictions or things like that that might be in place. So again, consider that with your area. So you're going to put in where your area is, where your location is, and be a bit more specific with that as well. And then here you can, as I say, utilize this risk assessment, familiarize yourself with it. But here is where you've outlined all the different potential hazards, which I've already done for you. And again, considering whether it's a high, medium, or low risk rating. So again, you have a little look at that and familiarize yourself with the different levels, and think about some of the different things that we can prevent to stop any accidents happening. Okay, so again, sort of being prepared is one of the key things to making sure that we've got everything possible covered to make sure we minimize the risks. Okay, so you can see here it's quite detailed. There's lots of pages of it. So please make sure you in your group you read it and you go through it and make sure that there's, if there's any areas where you're concerned or you need to get in touch, please contact me. Okay, or if you're unsure, again, equally get in touch with me and we can chat it through. So again, you can see the different levels here and the gradings that they will be given. Also keeps going on to hazards and things like that, and also who's responsible for those. So in terms of your risks and things like that, you need to make sure that you conduct appropriate risk assessments, okay, or that you've considered lots of different things that might potentially happen. So with regards to your activity, 45 minutes, as we said, you're delivering 10 minutes. If you're in a 2 or a 3, then I'd expect each person to deliver equally if possible. So this is about you coaching and getting some formative feedback to help you move forward for actual your summative assessment, which will be sort of further down the line in weeks 20. So think about what your sort of coaching approach is going to be. Think about the needs of the group that you're going to be working, and then take that feedback that you get from either myself or other members of staff that might be out there. Think about how you can use that to feed forward and improve as a coach. Okay, something that we should continually do as coaches is to reflect on what we've done and try and make it even better next time. So I'm looking forward to your sessions this week. Hopefully I'll get involved as well. And come prepared. If you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And I look forward to seeing you this week.